Salute to all the real ones out there. It's your boy Mike coming at you again with another video. Y'all like the content I've been dropping, direction on my channel was headed in. I need you to like, comment, subscribe, and share my videos with anybody else you think may benefit from them, alright? Now, first things first, I want to say that I appreciate everybody who's been supporting me up to this point. I had a talk with one of my buddies the other day. He's been a loyal supporter from the very beginning. And he basically gave me some credit for laying down a philosophy with my videos that really set in motion for him like a change that was actually beneficial. Now he's pretty much done a complete turnaround in his life, and he's getting all the benefits of, let's say, being conscious and internalizing all the things that I've been saying up to this point. You know, health, fitness, detaching yourself from the matrix, what have you. So it makes me feel good to know I at least impacted one person, and I can definitely verify that he has seen a significant turn of events in his life, and I'm not going to take all the credit, but y'all get my gist. So I thank everybody who's been watching my stuff up to this point, liking, commenting, and watching the video to completion. So yeah, now that we got that out the way, today's topic is going to be delayed gratification. All right, delayed gratification. And I mean, like, we're arguably living in the best time in human history. I mean, I don't think it's ever been this technologically advanced, and like to the point where the average human, even if they're not rich or whatever, they still have all the amenities and opportunities of even royalty back in the day. You know what I mean? All of us pretty much have creature comforts at our disposal. I mean, you're living in a building that's probably air conditioned. You probably have enough money to, buy food that was actually considered a luxury back in the day. I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody that's watching this video knows what it's like to take a hot shower, knows what it's like to taste a delicious steak, or to even get on an airplane and travel. So, like, there have been so many innovations in science, technology, medicine, agriculture, and elsewhere in all the sectors of life that makes it essentially easier to be comfortable as a human across the board. So that's first things first. Just acknowledging where we are in the world and how far we've advanced as a civilization. But it's like no longer do we even have to really wait for the things that typically you would have to grind and put in a lot of work in order to achieve. Like, take for example the fact that everything is on demand. Another word for this is being called the gig economy. I mentioned this in previous other uploads, but like food. Back in the day, if you was, let's say, a normal human, you might have had your own farm. You had to go out there and get your own eggs, milk your own cows, do this type of thing. Fast forward, back in the day, we had to like make a lot of food. Or if you wanted to really get the dine-in experience, you needed to go to a restaurant. And then we also had the invention of like fast food. So, sliding up to a drive-through, ordering something, taking it back to the crib, and eating it real quick, hot and ready. But now it's even gone a step further, because now you have like DoorDash or Uber Eats, or if you're out here in Germany like me, then you have Lieferando. It's all different types of things that you can just use at your disposal, and they'll bring the food directly to you. Travel. That's another thing that like has become a lot more on demand. Remember back in the day, you wanted to order a ticket, you needed to go up to a travel agency or to the actual airport, talk about what you wanted as far as travel criteria, book the ticket, pay, get your name in the system, and then you return to the airport when it was time for you to depart. Now you could do everything literally on your phone. I got a trip that my wife and I are about to book to Turkey coming up soon. It's not really a vacation. It's just so that we can take care of some business. But yeah, that's probably going to be next week or the week after. And we haven't even booked the ticket, because we know all we need to do is just sit down on ideally like a Wednesday. Tuesday or Wednesday, it's been reported that's the cheapest time to buy tickets. Never book on the weekend if you can, if you don't have to. But yeah, look how easy that's gonna be for us, right? You have clothing, like I mentioned before. Look at Amazon. Look at some of the other big retailers that used to have brick and mortar stores. Now they have online websites. All you need to do is really go in. They're even getting better with like having sizes that fit individuals of different shapes and sizes. You know, they're getting real smart with like having a little model that's around your size and defining him by his type of build, whether he's athletic, fat, you know, a little bit hefty, or just normal frame. You know, clothing companies are getting real clever with the ability to, let's say, order stuff and have it directly sent to you. Dope, right? You even have dating. Who would have thought that dating would be something that's like on the gig economy? You know, I told y'all about how I met my wife, about how we came together, and it was through that online dating portal back then called Tag, which is, I feel like it was the precursor to Tinder and a lot of these things where you're swiping left or swiping right. Back then it was just yes or no. And yeah, we actually met through there, which is a little bit of a phenomenon, especially back in, let's say, 2010. But now that's something that's also on the menu as far as like things that are on demand. Remember how it was back in the day, fellas? You wanted to go meet up with a girl. What did you need to do? If you were like me, you was gonna go get a haircut. You were probably gonna iron your clothes, get fresh. You were gonna talk with your homeboys about where we're gonna meet up. Y'all were gonna pregame, have a little freestyle session, drink a little bit, determine who's gonna be the one driving and all this other stuff. Y'all go to a location where you heard was popping, and once you get up in there with your boys, if you like me, then you know what I mean. You pretty much just trying to make your way around the room to see what's the situation, where are the women at, you know what I mean, what it's looking like, what's the music that's playing right now, getting into a good vibe, chopping it up, and you eventually had to make an approach to a woman that tickled your fancy or whatnot. If she was feeling you, then you know y'all would start off with a conversation, he, ha ha ha, exchange numbers, and you would take it from there, and it was like an ongoing thing. But that was one girl. That was my attention wasn't being split with like 1,000 different options because only the women that I made an approach to would be the only women that I would have some type of contact with. Whereas today, you know, I could sit literally in my boxer shorts just chilling at the crib, didn't shower, didn't take you know, didn't run any errands or nothing. I'm literally just waking up, rolling out of bed, looking at my phone, and I have like thousands and thousands of women to choose from. Who would have ever thought that would be our reality? And then, of course, the whole world is shifting around that. Last but not least, you have like sex and arousal. Mentioned it before, back in the day, pornography or anything that you wanted to do to like get a quick sexual, you know, please yourself real quick sexually, those things were somewhat like taboo. They were hard to come by. You know, it wasn't just readily accessible. You had to go somewhere. You needed to do something in order to please yourself sexually back in the day. Now, look at pornography. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? You got to run away from it. I was showing my homeboy the other day on the German TV. They have a dating show where everybody's completely naked. I'm talking about like butt ass naked. You know what I mean? So you have a person who's interested in dating people and they're only seeing them from the waistline down. And as those people, let's say, go on along the show and they don't get eliminated, and the person, you know, narrows it down to one or two people, only then will they start to go from, let's say, waist up to shoulder level. So you're seeing somebody's asshole, butt naked body sitting right there, and last you see their face. Look how crazy that is. That's becoming like the norm. You know what I mean? It's the idea of everything being instant gratification. So back to the topic of delayed gratification. Delayed, you already know the definition. It means postponed or deferred to a later time. And then you have gratification, which means pleasure, especially when gained from the satisfaction of a desire. So you guys have heard that old school mantra that's getting thrown around a lot these days, which is it's hard times create strong men create good times create weak men, and then weak men create hard times. So not insulting any men out there. All of us are doing our best. I feel like if you take the world population, easily 90 to 95% of people are just doing what they can to achieve some type of success in this life. Everybody defines success differently, but I'm not trying to attack all men out there, but you can only imagine where we are in that, let's say, that circle. If you ask me, weak men create hard times. And the reason being is that I don't need to go into it. I feel like there's a lot of psychological and tangible things that are happening in our society to kind of kill masculinity. And it's starting with the young boys. I'm seeing it more and more as I just come across like little groups of teenagers, and I realize like, damn, they don't have any type of masculine edge. It's almost like the masculine edge that boys used to have in my time and before has just been totally sucked out of the males. They look like males, but how they stand, how they walk, their posture, like it invokes a bully spirit in you if you're from the previous generation, knowing that these males nowadays are just so soft. And then you go to like America, it's gonna be a lot of them trying to identify with that gang culture. So you got a tight pants, feminine acting, feminine walking, talking, and maneuvering male, but that has a fucking extended clip Uzi. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know, man. It's out of this world. So that's where I feel y'all maybe could talk about it in the comments. I don't know, but I just feel like that's the circle we're in, and it's coming down to delayed gratification. You know what I mean? Of course, you have psychological warfare and all that, but it really comes down to men of the past used to postpone pleasure and would put in work in order to achieve whatever it was that they were going after. Take the girl example. Yo, I really want to, let's say, get with her and see what she talking about. You had to be on point. You needed to dress nice, smell good, this, that. You needed to talk with her, establish some rapport. You needed to take her on a few dates. And then you got, let's say, the prize at the end, which I don't need to explain that. But look at the average male today, you know what I mean? He doesn't even want to go through all of that because women, of course, in their minds are just totally warped. But you know what I mean? He could basically rub one out and avoid that whole process. But what's that doing to him over time? Just think about it, right? So basically, my goal with this video is just to talk about how it's important for us to return to the essence of what strong men used to value, exude, and by doing that, like we'll reset this solipsistic program that we're seeing in the current times. If y'all ever heard that word solipsistic, it just means like everything dealing with pleasure, all about hedonism, chilling, hanging out, taking like the shortcut, procrastinating, putting off anything that's hard and looking down on it and only looking at whatever will bring me some type of enjoyment or pleasure. Taking on this type of mindset, it's coming because society is kind of force feeding that down many people's throat. And as I said before, the propaganda is so effective. You know what I mean? These techniques that the elites use to kind of keep the masses at a very dumbed down, unactualized version of themselves is like it's working wonders. I don't even think they predicted that it will be so effective. You know what I mean? So we have instant gratification versus delayed. Take an example of like weight loss. Instant gratification would be, ooh, I'm gonna order whatever this is on this infomercial, and in 8 weeks I'll have the body I want. Drinking Slim Fast back in the day. Y'all remember that? A chocolate or vanilla flavored drink that I guess is supposed to just melt off the pounds. Like, of course, it's unrealistic. You know what I mean? But people were really falling for those gimmicks, hook, line, and sinker. Whereas delayed gratification, which is the better way to go, is going to have you with regular exercise. You know what I mean? Getting up, having a consistent habit of working out as a lifestyle change. Not something that you do just to reach your little fitness goal and then now you're back to being a slob. No, it's about implementing that as a permanent way of living. Get rich quick is another instant gratification. And I feel like it's really getting maximized and even magnified with social media. Because at any point, if you're just scrolling, you're going to come across somebody who look like they balling out of control. Not to mention that social media is only showing you the highlights of people's lives that they literally picked as their best choice to represent themselves. So a lot of people are falling for that. And if you spending hours and hours scrolling, like I don't see how you get off of there and still just feel 100% certain about everything you got going on. You just saw 1,000 examples of people who are looking better, feeling better, and making better moves in their life. You know what I mean? Whether it's fabricated or not, that's a whole nother thing. But that's instant gratification. You know what I mean? Get rich quick, going to casinos, pyramid schemes, scamming, selling drugs. Like that's a fast way to, let's say, make money, and everything about that is being glorified. But what's the delayed gratification? Investing for the long term. It's a tried and true way of going about handling your money, right? So you have the ebbs and flows of markets. You're going to be tolerating that if you're having delayed gratification because you have an end goal that you know you're going to reach by looking down the line. Another example of instant gratification is going to be newest and latest. These are the people who are victims of like advertisements or commercials on TV. Every single time the new iPhone come out, they got to go run and go get it. Every single time the new Jordan come out, everybody lined up to go get it. You know what I mean? Whenever there's a new gadget or whatever anybody's talking about that's new, that these are the people that like it doesn't even matter about what's happening in their life. They just have to have that new thing. Now, I get it, not everybody's going to have my mindset, but my thinking behind that is that's a form of instant gratification. You just drop whatever you have going on right now to go take part in the newest trend. But delayed gratification deals more with timeless purchases. You know what I mean? Taking quality over quantity. Everybody's been over that one guy's or girl's house that literally has so many clothes, everything just overflowing. That's part of this craze of consumerism that many people are really caught up in. You know what I mean? You have people who literally have debt but can't like resist buying the newest thing. Whereas if you have delayed gratification, you understand, hey, when I go buy something, it's going to be high quality and I want it to stick around. But I'm not going to be compulsively buying and sinking myself further into debt just to, let's say, appease some little fleeting feeling of I need to have that right now. Delayed gratification will have you a little bit more calculated. So when you do get something, it's actually going to stick around. This little Armani chain you see, bro, I've had this for like 10 years now. This watch that matches, had it also for like 10, 12 years. You know what I'm saying? Timeless is always going to beat trend. Trust me on that. All right, another thing, instant gratification versus delayed. You have validation. This is the biggest thing that I'm seeing with social media. No attack on social media. Everybody uses it for their own purposes. And I honestly salute all of the people who are using it for business because this is free advertising, this is free marketing, and this is the ability to, let's say, use something like Instagram to gain exposure to your product. So then when you actually come out with, let's say, a book or whatever other thing that you're trying to push out to the market, you've already been kind of accepted because many people have come across your stuff and eyeballs are glued to what you have going on. So that's actually a very smart technique. But if you're just wasting mad time trying to get likes and honestly looking like you're treating social media like your therapist, constantly online and, you know what I mean, trying to show everything that you have going on, it kind of points at like a little bit of psychological issues. If you ask me, you know what I mean? Of course, I have a YouTube channel. Somebody could look and say, oh, you doing this, you doing that. To them, I would just challenge, how often do you really see me on a video? Over the last, let's say, how many years that I've had this channel, how often that I really do uploads, especially now that I'm only doing them once a month. But to each his own, everybody has their own opinion. Delayed gratification is going to come through working on yourself, all right? So let's say doing therapy, being out in nature, developing hobbies. This makes you more interesting. So even though you might not, let's say, be seen all the time on the world stage on the internet, when somebody actually comes across you in person, they know that you've actually been taking the time to, further cultivate your personality and things like this. So I feel like this is a version of delayed gratification. You know what I mean? You're not going to be able to just upload your pictures on whatever site and get likes right away and feel good. If you're a person that's going the more delayed route, You might be in the gym for 6, 7 months, up to a year, whatever, and nobody even sees a picture of you. You're gonna get that one piece of validation when you come across somebody that's seen you years ago and they go, "Hey, you been working out?" I don't know. You tell me what's more valuable. And then last but not least, I kind of referenced this earlier when it comes down to delayed gratification versus instant is like sexual transmutation. You know, the instant way to gratify yourself or feel good is to watch porn or masturbate or do something along those lines. But we all know that the delayed version is going to have you on a whole nother level if you have the discipline to implement it, which would be channeling that sexual energy, which males have a high sex drive most of the time. If you can channel that energy and put it into something that will give you a bigger benefit in your life, i.e., learning a new trade or developing a skill, a hobby, or working out, like anything that gets you away from that lustful, lower animal nature, and you use that energy for a good purpose, tell me you won't win in the end. You know, so these are just some of the things that I just feel are important. And last but not least, you know, with delayed gratification, it literally is a superpower these days. It really is, because we're in a time where everything is accessible. I mean, the world is going so fast, and I feel like most people don't even take a second to disengage, be mindful of what's happening in their own minds, and actually like go the tried and true method way of living your life. Like, I like stoicism versus hedonism. I like, you know, leaning towards reading books than I do just listening to an audio book. You know what I mean? So it's like over time I feel like having delayed gratification would just give me great results in my life. So I don't want to harp on it too much. Like, comment, subscribe. Holla back.